So I'm going to give you my take on how to play Helm's Dike. There's more than one way to do this, obviously. So I'm just going to take a look at my way of doing things. So when I get in, I'll grab the catapult, the barricade, and the ballista. And for those of you who've never done this before, you need to be a high enough level, not high enough level, but high enough rank as engineer in order to be able to use these things. So if you are not, the best thing to do is duo up with someone, because whether you're solo or duo, it doesn't really matter. You still get the same amount of credit. So you need to be, I believe, rank 5 to really be effective at setting up the siege equipment. So thanks to a kinmate named Loyal who came up with the idea of putting the catapults on the bridge here, I'm going to throw 2 catapults on here, and this is setting up for the final quest. There's 3 sets of quests that happen in this game, or in this battle. The first quest, second quest, third quest. The third quest is either going to be attacking the gate from this side or attacking the gate from the other side. So this is getting ready to destroy Saruman's war machine. Now if you notice down here it says Helm's Dike Solo Duo. There's this little thing that's popped up here. I use a plugin, and the plugin is called Big Battle Plugin. It tells you in advance which quests are going to be coming up. So as soon as it starts, I'm going to get you to take a look at that, and it'll say first quest, tell you what it is, second quest, tell you what it is, third quest will either be flames at the gate or powder at the gate. So the catapults will be set up here for when it's flames at the gate. I've upgraded the damage, I've upgraded the speed. I haven't bothered upgrading the armor or the distance because those things don't particularly matter. Okay, so orienting yourself, the bridge is the center of this, and from the bridge you can go west, left on the minimap, or you can go east. So I'm going to go west first. Oh, you can also ride a goat in here. I love my goat. Some people like horses. I prefer my goat. Okay, this is the near West Canyon, and this is one of the places the bad guys will come up and attack. So don't go too far. See that big pile of bodies? If you go past that, the archers will kill you, and it's instant death. There's nothing you can really do about it. So I'm going to toss down some barricades in here. You can orient the barricades uh, longitudinally or axially. If you put them along the length of the canyon, it takes the enemy that much longer to get through them and gives your soldiers more time to fight them. So one of the things about the big battles in general, is you try and get your soldiers enough time to actually do the combat for you. You can get through this entire thing without firing a shot yourself if you've got it set up effectively. So I'm going to throw a few barricades down here, and as you can see, it's going to take the bad guys that come in down here. They'll have to go through the whole length of the barricade, and then the whole length of the next barricade. I'm going to throw another barricade. By the time they get up here, these soldiers are just going to be mogging them down. So I'm going to click one more, dismantle that. And again, I'm high enough rank to be able to do this. If you're too low a rank, get someone to pair up with you, because it's really, really tough to do this without setting up the barricades and everything in place. I must have done this a dozen times before finally getting some success at it. So what I call this is the near west canyon. There's a midwest, and if there's a 6-player version of it, then there'd also be a far west. In the duo and solo, it's only a near west and a midwest. So let's move on to the midwest, and I'll show you what that looks like. And again, it starts with a couple barricades, but they're badly positioned. The bad guys will just walk right up the middle of the canyon and ignore your barricades altogether. So I'm going to take a barricade, place it in the middle of the canyon, the second barricade, stick it in behind there. Now, no side quests show up on this barricade. There'll be a couple waves of attackers, but really it's not that big a deal. If you didn't put any barricades here, you probably would still be fine, but I like sticking them in here anyways. The near West Canyon that we just came out of, there are several different quests that could come on through there. So one of the quests that comes through the near West Canyon is stone obstruction. Bad guys will come up there. Defending the watchtower, bad guys will come up there. So you really do need more barricades in the near west than you do in the midwest. I'll throw one more down here. And I'm just going to pause recording for now and switch over to the other side. So while that was paused, I finished making the barricades. It's a nice little arc all the way around here. When the bad guys come up to do attacking the watchtower, they have to go through that entire length. I don't think anyone's going to make it through that. So going across the bridge, I'm going to head over to the east side now. And on the east side, there's another barricade, ballista, and catapult. There's the near east canyon, and then there's a mid-east canyon. So like before, just going to pop down here, chuck a barricade on the bad guys. Don't go too far, you'll get killed where those bodies are. Hopefully they're enemy bodies. So I'm just going to show you how I align these again. One of them will be here. I'm going to throw 3 in this canyon. And if you ride a little further along, you go past all this stuff. I'm going to dismantle these barricades and bring them down to this canyon, which is where the statue gets attacked. So again, like the watchtower side, I'm going to throw a whole ton of barricades on this side. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to pause recording while I do that. So I've just been placing barricades in here. You can see there's 3 that are lengthwise, but by the time they get up to this sort of broad area, some of them go this way, some of them go that way. So it's important to place the barricades straight across. I'm going to place 1 more in here and then start recording again. I do try and leave a little bit of space between them and not overlap them. The barricade, I'm visualizing it as a rectangle, and the rectangles, there's no value in overlapping. If you space them out, it means that the bad guys will move slower through them and give your soldiers more time to attack. So as I mentioned before, there's more than one way to do this, obviously. I like to stick 5 barricades on the mid-east side where that statue is. I'll stick 3 barricades in here, but you can do any number of things. I just try and be the most efficient that I can this way. This has been developed through many practice sessions with various kinmates. Kmarth for one, for sure. We worked through many different strategies for this. Queen, Feriel, we've done lots of these. So anyways, I'm going to grab another barricade, and pretty much this is set upstairs now. So that's what the near east looks like. The far east is where the, or mid east is where the statue is. I'm going to take you downstairs now. When we go downstairs, we'll set up for either powder at the gate or horses. And because I know powder at the gate is the 3rd quest, I'm going to throw everything where the horses are. So you go downstairs where that rope is, you ride to the back, and this is where the war steeds hang out. So I'm going to throw a barricade right here and aim the ballista right at it. I'll do that first. Sorry if I made you dizzy there. And you don't need to see me building this, so I'll pause it for a second. So just a word about the Big Battle plugin, this thingy down here. I want to say a big thanks to Romika, another kinmate who showed me that. I used to have all this information written down on a sheet of paper that if you start on this side, you end up with these quests. If you start on this side, you end up with these quests. But this also tells you how long it's going to take until the next quest. So I fully upgraded the ballista for speed and damage again. Don't worry about armor or distance. If you notice where I'm aiming, it's right at that barricade. Now, what I just did, if you click on the ballista, you're targeting the ballista as well as being able to aim the ballista. Target off, you can still shoot the ballista, but it also lets you do any of your various skills. So I can plant this while I'm loading the bolt. You can do both at the same time, which is super helpful if you're in here by yourself, which I don't suggest you should do. You should always be duoing this because it's more fun that way. But anyway, so I aim it at the barricade there. Now I'm going to go up and grab another ballista and a couple more barricades, and I'll be right back. Okay, so super quick lesson on how catapults work. So I've got both catapults sitting here on the bridge. And if you had 2 people in here, one would work one would work the other, and the war machine would come down this road. So option number 1 is load. So you load up the shell, you crank it, and in the process of cranking, you'll see these little tripwire, this targeting thing shows up here, crosshairs, and you want the crosshairs to be as far up as you can so that as soon as that war machine comes in, you take a shot, blast it with and fire. So load, crank, fire. And you'll notice that it goes up there. As soon as it launches, you can start loading again. So that first one's going to hit the war machine when it first comes in. The next one, the war machine's already going to be sitting down here. So you load, crank once, fire. That's it. Load, crank, fire. There are powder options. I like to throw in leeching powder. I don't know that it does anything against a war machine. It's supposed to slow the bad guys down. I feel better for having done it. and I'll give you a lesson in ballistas in just a moment. Okay, so while I was paused, I put in the rest of the barricades there. I like to put some barricades in here because they come through and attack all the horses that are lined up around there. But I aim the ballistas at the barricades that are right at the front there because the soldiers don't necessarily come around the corner and help out. Now, I've selected a barricade. You can click off of it, you can do stuff to the barricade, you can repair it. So anything that you can select in HD runs, you can have in the background while you do your own particular attacks. So I can still shoot this, I can shoot bad guys, whatever, while repairing this or aiming or something. So I'm going to click on the ballista, and I can see the ballista. So here's your ballista training lesson. So load, oops, crank, and it's going to fire, but it's going to fire sort of off where I want it. I want it centered on this thing. So when you've got a catapult, cranking, the more you crank it, the further it goes. The ballista always fires in the same spot until you aim it. So aim left, aim right, aim up, aim down. So I'm going to aim it down a little bit. Now you should be able to click on this and stop it. Well, it doesn't work anymore. So you have to move yourself forward or backwards a little bit, and that stops it from doing anything because it doesn't work while you're moving. I'm going to aim it right a little bit as well. So that one's aimed over here to protect that barricade. This one's aimed over here to protect this barricade. I can solo this now because these two barricades, and with my direct attacks, I'll kill any bad guys that come through here. The ballistas will kill the other guys. So if we get horses, it's going to be one of the first quests. You just hang out down here. You've got all this stuff. If you don't get horses, grab two barricades, grab two ballistas, and follow me down here. This is where powder at the gate is. So powder at the gate, the bad guys come from around here and work their way towards the gate. So I'm going to set up two barricades here, and set up the ballistas over here and here. So the ballistas firing back at the barricades. The bad guys come past. I can do direct attacks on them. I can slow them down, whatever. And once they get to the barricades, I blast them. Nothing ever gets past this. So here's your recap. I've only got 3 more minutes left of recording on this thing. It's free and it's my first time doing it. So here's where horses are. Hopefully you've had a chance to see what my setup is. And of course there's more than one setup. If you need to, you can move those things to powder at the gate right here. Go up the rope, 2 catapults. That's for flames at the gate. Go west. On the west side, I've got a whole bunch of barricades in this canyon. Looks kind of like a candy cane. Go further west to the Midwest. I've got a couple barricades in there, no biggie. There is a ballista here. I never use it. You can dismantle it and move it somewhere else if you want to. It's really not that big a deal. On the east side, you've got gambling, he'll start you off. The near east, throw down 3 barricades. And the mid east, 3 barricades in front, 2 more at the back. I like to have a ballista here to kill the trolls with as well, but I'll pull a ballista up from downstairs at the horses because it's either going to be horses or a statue. And you'll know because of the big battle plugin. There are a couple more siege things you can use if you feel the desire to. There's a catapult back here. Again, I never use it. And there's another ballista that's hiding around the corner here in the near east. Don't ever retreat from battle. That's something Aragorn does. So there's a small ballista here. You have to build it and then you can dismantle it and move it. The last thing to show you is right in this spot is what I call the east archer. So if there's a stone obstruction that's happening, you give orders to the east archer. Then there's a bridge archer. You give orders here. Keep going. On this side, there's a west archer. Give orders here. And then you go all the way back and do it all over again. That's why it's so much easier with a duo. With a duo, you have the same 3 archers. The west archer is here. Whoever's in charge of that covers the top of this canyon. The other person takes the east and the bridge. So that's the setup. I'm going to pause the recording now and I'll start doing the actual battle and show you how that works out.